Hey, all my Pisces friends. Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Teri Hunter. I'm an intuitive astrologer, and I'm here today with your February 2024 monthly horoscope. These horoscopes are based on whole sign Western astrology. So I'm talking about Pisces rising. It's also applicable for Pisces sun and Pisces moon, as well as any Pisces stelliums. If you have 3 or more personal planets in the sign of Pisces, this video is applicable to you. The wheel that you're looking at is based on the Los Angeles time zone, Pacific time zone. I cannot dedicate it to Pisces first house because as we traverse through the month, the wheel changes. So I will be indicating what house this is verbally. So if you want to pull up your natal chart while you're listening to this, that might be helpful. Okay, so let's jump right in. This is the 1st of February, and we see that Pluto has entered Aquarius, and we're getting a new taste of this. We felt it a little bit in 2023, and then Pluto retrograded back into Capricorn. Now it is in your 12th house. This is where Pluto is starting to give you an opportunity to do the deep dive into your psychological imprint about where people hold power and dominion over you, where potentially, in the name of empathy and compassion, you're being taken advantage of, or inadvertently not fulfilling your own destiny. The 12th house is very much a house of ancestral lineage. It's a very karmic house. It has its own flavor and history about it. So here Pluto is really starting to want to renovate that, because as Aquarius is your 12th house, this would be, the 2.0 version of how you show up in the way of compassion and empathy. And that could very well be by putting yourself as a priority over potentially other people or other people's problems. The 12th house is a house where it's the house of self-undoing. So, and I say that because, Aquarius rules worldwide network, it rules large groups of people. And, if you've been giving your compassion to a situation that's inadvertently draining you, or not allowing your full expression, Pluto's going to start to reveal that in a way that may feel a little harsh at first, but the caterpillar didn't know what was happening as it was becoming the butterfly. So now let's go to the 5th of the month. And there we see Mercury has moved from Capricorn into your 12th house. Now it's conjunct with Pluto. This could very well bring up your ancestral lineage with how your thoughts have been perceived, how your ideas have been perceived, how your speech has been perceived, how you interact with your siblings, the story about them. Mercury rules so much of our everyday activities, from traveling to and fro to work, running our errands, our emails, our communications. This is this transit, which will soon be followed by Mars and then Venus, is Pluto having these conversations where it's saying to Mercury, you know what, I appreciate that you've got a lot of things to do, but what is the vibration in which you're doing it? Because if you're running on a hamster wheel, then you're really not making the progress that you wanted to make. And Pluto is going to transform that. It's kind of like a parent on some level doing something that's for your own good, not for your liking at the time. Now here's Mars is going to, well, I was getting ahead of myself. Let me go over to, there's going to be a new moon on the 9th. That will be at 2:59 p.m. in the Pacific. Let me change the time here. This is the 4th, I believe, new moon at the 20th degree. We will have 5 total, and that the 5th being in Pisces, your 1st house. So this new moon is at the transformational 20th degree. It is that the master degree of Scorpio. So and mastering is a patience with the ebb and the flow of knowing and not knowing, or consciousness and not consciousness, the layers that sit beneath our human psyche. because I feel like this new moon gives you an opportunity to truly plant seeds for a new beginning. And the new beginning could very well be something that you want to birth, that is a deep hope and a desire. The naturally Aquarius rules the 11th house, which is a house that matures over time and offers us to experience our hopes and our dreams. And with Pisces being such a creative sign, and when Saturn entered your first house, it was really asking you to dig deep into discipline and structure and not to swim away from the things that you want if it gets difficult or people don't respond immediately. I think one of the challenges with Pisces is you have that healing energy that devotes more to others than it does to self. And it can feel very awkward when you're putting yourself first. And yet, here is a great example of why this is so important, because when you put yourself first, you're actually helping others. So I think this is a powerful new moon to set these intentions, because in no short order, we will see the sun move into your first house, Mercury move into your first house, as well as these Mars and Venus traveling together in your 12th house. So there's going to be a lot of activity that's going to be sort of unearthing the creative potential you have when you devote time to yourself and you look at that as a gift to us all. I guess is the best way to put that. I don't really know any better way. Okay. So this new moon is a powerful new moon for setting intentions. It's the darkest phase of the moon. It might be the phase that's most comfortable for Pisces, because Pisces likes to be sort of in this dreamy place. It's time, Pisces is the house we spend time alone in. So now let's go to the 13th, which is the day before Valentine's Day. And I think this is a little bit of a time that could be a little bit tense for some people. We see Mars and Pluto are in a conjunction in Aquarius. This has got a lot of charge on it. Unconscious people could be very angry, very warlike, very down and dirty. And those that are standing in awareness can see that there could be brave action not to react to something or to shy away from it, but to give myself an opportunity to let spirit to muse on it a bit, to allow for some sort of spiritual revelation, communication, awakening. I don't know why I want to put it that way, but of all the signs, of all the water signs, Pisces has the easiest journey to transcend the earth plane and connect with their team and their guides. And I think that this is a really important day and time overall to venture that way in a really brave way. The next day is Valentine's Day, and we'll see here that Mars has not moved very far, and there's Venus inching closer to Pluto. People that are in challenging relationships, out of balance relationships that are taking advantage, something could really muck up here and really, kick up the dust. And at the same time, this is an opportunity to transform that which has not really supported. Because here we see Saturn at 8 degrees on this day, making a beautiful trine to Taurus. And Taurus is your third house. This is the house that's naturally ruled by Gemini. And I say that this because I think this is where I'm kind of not talking about siblings in the third house. I'm talking about your everyday thoughts, how you think. And this is an opportunity to expand beyond that, to almost see and feel a true divinity through disruption. Because your creativity could come up. You could feel a sense of, we see a square here between Venus and Eris here. Eris is in Aries. Aries is your second house of money. Eris is Mars's little sister. And she's a scrapper. She's a street fighter. She stands up for herself and what she believes in and the underdog. And with Venus and Capricorn, this is about following the structure, following the rules. That's your 11th house. So you may have this little weird hiccup where you're like trying to follow some sort of, rules of engagement. And at the same time, the only rule of engagement is to believe in yourself. And that's what I think that Mars and Mars and Pluto are really emphasizing now the 2.0 version, the futuristic version of you, the part of you that rewrites your story from where you've been to where you want to go. And I think that Saturn has been working very diligently to bring that into your awareness so that you could put down the emotional structure necessary to endure other people's opinions as you don't always give in to what they want, and you start to claim yourself even more obviously to the outside world. Okay, so let's go on to the 16th. And this is where Venus makes her conversation with Pluto. Now, this hasn't happened since, they had a conversation way back I think it was in 2020 when they were in Capricorn. So here, this is really, here I'm not feeling money from Venus. I'm feeling my self-worth. I'm feeling my talents and my skills. I'm feeling my voice. And Pluto's like, when are you going to bet on yourself? Are you going to keep giving in to what has been, or will you start to dream of what can be? Mars is asking for bravery here at the 2nd degree. That's the Venusian degree, the Taurus degree. And I think this is very powerful because, again, we are teeing up a conjunction in your 3rd house between Uranus and Jupiter. And this could be a great expansion of your everyday life, of your thoughts, of your speech, of how you are. The 3rd house is naturally Gemini. For you, it will be Taurus. And it's like this potential to, to affect your community in a way that has broader reaching tentacles. And yet I don't know if you have to actually be standing in front of people. If you're a writer, if you're a content creator of some kind, it could be that creates this opportunity for you to feel a sense of purpose, and yet also that alone time you need to allow your imagination to nurture. So this conjunction right here is super powerful again, and it's kind of a running theme as these two planets are hanging out in the early degrees of Aquarius. So now we go to the 18th, where the sun enters Pisces, your 1st house. So this is where, the sun is shining on you. I was just thinking to myself that the sun in Pisces kind of reminds me of a beautiful day at the beach. And while, I don't know how other astrologers would perceive that, I feel like, as we move deeper into the month, this month happens to be a leap year. So we're going to have 29 days. But this to me is where the sun, as it approaches Saturn, is really asking you to shine your light, to be disciplined and not to escape your own brilliance, but to claim it, and almost not to sit in judgment of however it exposes or expresses itself. I think that's another little theme we've got going on here. Pluto's a small planet, but it is a potent planet. So I would give it an orb of at least 5 degrees before you start feeling a little bit of relaxation off that. So here we're still feeling this energy in your 12th house, bringing up how you take action, bringing up how you feel about yourself and your skills. And as we see a little later in the day, the sun enters Pisces for your birthday month. So let's just really encapsulate what is Pisces. It's imaginative and compassionate. It's also self-sacrificing and impressionable. It's empathetic and dreamy, but sometimes there are flights of fancy, and the flights of fancy are sometimes when your inner knowing is saying, wow, I really love what that person is saying to me, but I know I've never seen them be that way. And I've known them a long time. I'm not sure that's really true. And while I want to believe what they're saying is true, I think this time I've got to listen to my inner voice and not proceed. That's the way I want to put it. That would be Saturn, really trying to get a grip on what is sustainable and what is not. Okay, let's go to the 24th of the month, where we will have a full moon in Virgo in your 7th house of partnerships. That happens at 4:30 a.m. Pacific time. And, here we see the opposition between the moon and the sun. And here, this is where I perceive this as an opportunity, some kind of illumination that I want to say releases any chains that have enslaved you to something that is really out of balance. Again, you know, we've got this tightening conjunction between Mercury, the Sun, and Saturn, bringing in a sense of history, of how I historically think, how I historically interact with people, my siblings, my teammates, my workmates, my neighborhood, the road. I mean, gosh, you know, again, Mercury rules so many things in our everyday life. And if you find yourself on a bit of a hamster wheel of other people's priorities keep intervening or intercepting your own priorities, this full moon is going to bring a real kind of awakening. It's at the 5th degree, the Leo degree, and it gives you an opportunity to stand in leadership for your renovation, for your 2.0, for your, you know, your hopes and your dreams to really anchor in. All right, let's see. On the 28th, I believe it is that Saturn and, oops, let me change the time back to, well, I'll put it on the 28th. And this is where we see all the planets, Saturn, Mercury, and the Sun are all conjunct. Just quickly change this to 12 p.m. I think this is super powerful because this is, oh, well, at that point, a little earlier in the day, they were all conjunct, but they're still conjunct here. I think that this is a day where potentially you do start to carve out time for yourself, or at least, you know, because I want to offer this to you, Pisces, as you birth this new version of yourself in small bites that allow you to get more and more comfortable with this sense of autonomy and this sense of being, you know, there's a weird feeling of you being sort of a creative in the closet creatively, like you don't know how talented you are, and as you slowly start to creep out into the world, that's this growing conjunction in your 3rd house, you may find that you've never been more supported or felt more yourself. And so I really think that while Saturn usually limits and restricts, this is more about, you know, continuing to stay the course of how am I thinking and how am I speaking about what I want? Am I giving in? Am I throwing myself under the bus? Or am I just staying the course no matter how small the step forward may be? And let's just go over to the last day of the month. And here, you know, we're still feeling the same energies, more or less. Pluto's moved a wee bit further into your 12th house. And when we get into this 1st degree, it's like, how brave will you be about your transformation? We're seeing Venus and Mars kind of, you know, separating a bit, but we're still feeling this constant pull to be brave, to assert myself about what's important to me, about using my Venusian energy for the benefit, not only of myself, but for everybody as I stay the course, as I, as a Pisces, choose to swim in the waters that are the warmest for me versus going into a cold Arctic freeze to save somebody else or somebody else's dream. I don't know why I want to put it that way, but that's kind of how it came out. All right, that's it for my Pisces for February 2024. Again, my name is Teri Hunter. I'm an intuitive astrologer. I am available for readings if you'd like to book an astrology reading, or if you'd like to get an angel reading. I am available on Sunday mornings live at 11 a.m. Pacific time. I do angel reading and I pull a tarot card for each sign, and we get the angel's advice for traversing the week ahead's transits. So I hope you'll join me there. And in any case, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. There'll be lots of content coming out, and have a lovely 2024. This first period of time here is really teeing up March and April and May and beyond. So be brave, Pisces. You deserve all your dreams to come true. See you soon.